Are you using different classes, methods? Do you have an array of some kind used in your code? Simple or complex, it is up to you.
Welcome to another episode of UEN's PDTV. In this episode, we have traveled to the Sevier Career and Technical Education Center in Richfield to learn how art teacher Dustyn Allen became a computer science teacher, providing computational thinking learning experiences for students throughout the district.
I teach in Sevier School District, kind of in the middle of the state. We have 3 high schools that feed into the CTE center. So students are coming in, freshman through senior. It's a very rural community. So I have students that have aspirations to be truck drivers and aspirations to be doctors and engineers. The classes I teach and some of the other classes here, they can only be done at the CTE center. So we have engineering classes and forensic classes, and then I'm teaching some computer programming and photography classes. The district's done that to help pool their resources to one place and give students this opportunity that otherwise we just didn't have access to.
Throughout this episode, we'll learn how Dustyn's coding, gaming, and digital media courses, combined with his student-driven approach, help students learn technical, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. Now, from what I understand, you started as an art teacher, is that right?
Yeah, so when I finished college, my license was in art teaching K-12. And when they built the CTE center, well, way before they built the CTE center, after my first year of teaching, it was like, where's the photography and digital art? And we didn't have access. And so I talked with my principal. I said, what kind of money do I have? And he says, what's in your budget? And I said, never mind. And so I found a grant online through, I think it was 100% for kids. And I wrote up a wish list of a grant. And when I was done, I was asking for $25,000 for laptops and cameras and software and a projector, things that most of the classrooms in the district didn't have. And I definitely had none of that. And my principal said, yeah, you have my blessing. And when I received it, it was awesome. And the district CTE director showed up and he's like, this is great. This is a good start and we can help you with your funding from here on out. And I didn't know anything about CTE and he taught me about it and helped me get my endorsements. And it's been just a ball of fun since then. Being able to teach photography and commercial art and then digital media and game design has just been the areas of art that I really enjoy.
It got me wondering when I heard about your past as an art teacher and now getting into digital arts, how an art teacher becomes a computer programming teacher as well.
For the last decade, I've been bugging our CTE directors, when are we going to get coding in the classes? And I did my own little research to see what the introductory classes were and what endorsements you would need. And so about every year I would ask our CTE director, when's that going to happen? And he's like, well, we're still trying to find money and it's really hard to convince somebody to come from the private sector and then teach in a small district where they could be making exponentially more than what we can provide for them. And then one year they said, well, since you brought it up, we're going to have you teach exploring computer science. And so that was my first introduction to it. And I didn't really care for that class. So I talked to my director, and he's like, okay, let's have you do computer science principles. I taught that for a couple of years, and then they're like, well, since you want to be over here at the CTE Center full time, we can't do that, but what about every other day, and we'll have you teach computer programming 1 and 2. And I was like, oh, that's a lot. That's way beyond what I understand. And they're like, we'll help you, get you the PD that you need. And so this is my second year teaching computer programming. It is hard. It pushes my brain to the limits, but I have so much fun seeing what the kids are doing. It's not based on what I know, that's for sure, but as they kind of grasp what we're doing in class and take off in their own ways, it's just fun to see what they're accomplishing.
I love that it was one of these situations where you bugged them enough that they said yes, and you get to do it. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about what you're teaching in these courses and the kinds of projects that the students are working on.
The 4 courses that I'm teaching here now are commercial photography, game development, digital media, and computer programming. And so with game development, students, we learn about building games. We talk about games, we play a few games, and then we learn the mechanics, and then they get to work individually and in groups building games that we can then play. Our final is an arcade day, and we play each other's game, and we try to find the bugs. They love trying to find each other's bugs, but we just have fun doing that. In digital media, our final project is making a PSA in animation or live video, and the students really love working on this project and getting down to some of the things that are important to them, as well as working in motion instead of just a still image. And then in computer programming, we actually just started our final project, and in this class, the students get to take all of the skills that we've been learning, and they're going to build their own little mini app using some of the key things that we've been talking about and learning.
I want to come back to what you said about how teaching computer programming in particular is not really based on what you know, but what the students know. How does that work when you don't necessarily always feel like you have every answer or you're the top expert in the field, and yet through this personalized and student-driven approach, the class works? How does that flow happen?
At the beginning of the course, we all start off on the same page, and I'm learning with them. We're going through, we're learning the code and some of the basic structures, and then after that, we are, some students have caught on and they're taking off. And I let them know, don't let me hold you back, because I don't want to stifle what enthusiasm they have. And then the students that are struggling, I keep working with them. And then it gets to the point where they're all going at this at a faster rate. Then I work with the students that are really struggling. Students that are kind of struggling, they can ask for help from me. They can ask their neighbors that are getting it. And then we also learn about how to problem solve. That's the part of computer programming that I love, is the problem solving and the debugging, because then you get to exercise a part of your brain that we're not used to doing, and especially in computer science or in programming and trying to find these answers. And so we talk about how to use AI. We talk about how to use Google effectively and not just going to the first answer that you find, or not just using the first thing or typing in the first thing that comes to mind for your search. And so we go through these different methods of researching and trying to find these answers to problems. And as we do that, the students really start taking off even more. Like I have one kid, he came up to me the other day, he's finished everything for the year up to this point. And I'm like, great, what are we gonna do now? And so now as I meet with him today, we're gonna be talking about, okay, it's your monster. Take and do something that you wanna do and have fun with it. And so for me, that's the really exciting thing. It's not that they're doing the cookie cutter assignments. As an art teacher, I've always hated the cookie cutter assignments. And this gives students that opportunity to really explore and think outside the box and take risks. And if they fail, awesome. And if they're successful, awesome. That's not what I'm not concerned with the end product. I celebrate what they do. I'm excited when they experiment and explore.
I love the classroom community that is created by this, that you're willing to be vulnerable and dive into a subject that isn't, your first area of expertise, but that you're utilizing that art background and the creativity, and then encouraging the students to be vulnerable as well, and to, as you said, really dig in and find answers to the questions, supporting each other, not being afraid to make mistakes. I mean, this is just the ultimate, problem-solving laboratory that you've got going on.
And I'll admit, sometimes it sounds really exciting, and sometimes it's a bunch of kids working in their own little cubicle. But as I go around and I talk with students and interact with them, I really see that it's more than just they're in their own little world. They are in their own world, but they are focused and working a lot harder than I anticipated. So for me, this really makes teaching worth it as I get to see what the students are doing.
I can see from all of this why you pushed so hard to have the district include these courses, why you love being at the CTE Center. Say for me one more time, just what is your why? Why do these courses matter to the students?
My why is getting students to problem solve, to think and take risks. For me as an adult, that's what makes being an adult exciting, is that I get to take risks, I get to experiment, and most of the time, yeah, I probably fail. But in my mind, I'm successful, and I want these students to understand that a failure is not, you should never do it. It's just an opportunity for you to learn and to step forward into something a little bit different.
Thank you so much for letting us join you and your students here at the CTE Center today.
Thank you for coming.
Now that you have seen Dustyn and his students in action, consider how you can add computational thinking learning experiences to your classroom as well. Computational thinking and problem solving can happen in any classroom at any level. But if you're looking specifically for CTE resources, you can utilize outside sources like code.org and CodeHS, or you can visit the USBE website or UEN's website for additional resources. Be sure to visit UEN's eMedia, where there are hubs for all of these content areas. Specifically, you can visit the CS for Utah Hub, the Digital Media Arts Hub, and the newly published CTE Hub. For even more resources, strategies, and tools to help you implement these competencies in your classroom, be sure to visit uen.org/PDTV and access the teacher toolkit that accompanies this episode. Thanks for watching UEN's PDTV. For more professional development resources from UEN and to schedule a training, visit uen.org/development. We'll see you next time.